The St. Louis Cardinals sweep the Minnesota Twins, and everyone is praising one guy in particular for this hot start. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fans, I'm JD Hafford, and I am your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. You can also follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We're also on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification button so you don't miss any of the new episodes or the shorts that we post for you. Also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So the Cardinals couldn't start the season off any better than they have after defeating the Minnesota Twins by a score of 9-2 on Sunday, sweeping the opening series of the season, 3-0. We have a tradition on this particular show. You won't be able to see it if you're listening to the audio version of this, but on the video version on YouTube, when we get a series win, I like to wear one of the ugly shirts that I don't even remember what year this was a giveaway for. But it's got like Whitey Herzog's signature on it, 11-time world champions, Ozzy's on there. I don't know. It is a hideous, ugly shirt. But anytime we get a series win, I like to put it on. I like to get a little flashy and put it on. And that's what we're going to do right now on the video. So for those of you watching, here it is. The ugly shirt that you all love and adore so much. We earned it because the Cardinals were outstanding in this particular series. And I think the best thing about what we witnessed over this 3-game series was how they were doing it. And it was by playing Cardinal baseball, what we're used to as Cardinal baseball, right? You know, the last couple of years, not really what our expectations or what we want Cardinal baseball to look like, right? Play the game the right way, bunt, fielding, good pitching, timely hitting, all of the things that have kind of been absent over the last couple of years. We got to see it in this series. It was a solid all-around game by everyone involved. You got solid pitching from the starters in the bullpen, solid to spectacular defense at times from the infielders and the outfielders. And the thing that is getting noticed the most about this series is what the offense did, the offensive onslaught that they were able to produce, scoring 19 runs, 30 hits in the series, including 5 home runs. They outscore the Twins 19-6 overall in the series. Pretty dominating. And they're getting this added attention because of how poorly things went for the Cardinals offensively the last couple of years. And more specifically last year. Like I don't really want to talk about 2023 anymore, but last year, it wasn't that great, right? Everybody underachieved. Nobody was hitting very well. It was just bad. And somehow the team still won 83 games. And they're bringing back basically the same group of guys. You know, there's very, very little turnover, right? Things were different in this series than what we saw last year. Most fans are pointing their fingers in a good way in praising new hitting coach Brant Brown for the turnaround. And, you know, when you look at it, of the things that have changed, he's a big part of that, right? I mean, there's a couple of different names out there in the box score, but not very many. He's a main piece that has changed. So a friendly pat on the back for Brant Brown is probably deserved for what we just witnessed against the Twins. And I know we're going to have these Dan and Debbie Downers and these negative Nick and Nancy's in the chat and in the comments. I beg of you, if they start trolling you, just ignore them. Just ignore them. You know, these are the guys that are like the Joker. They just want to watch the world burn. Nothing is good enough. They'll never be happy about anything. So just let them be the way they are. It's okay. They're going to tell you to pump the brakes. It's just one series. And to those people, I say, doesn't mean you're wrong, but it's a long ass season, guys and gals. So let's not get crazy about what we just saw in the series. But at the same time, can we not enjoy this good fortune a little bit? Can we not enjoy a 3-0 start for the first time since 2006? Remind me what happened that year in 2006. Anybody know? But like, enjoy it. Have fun. It's okay. It's okay to be happy that the Cardinals actually played good baseball for 3 games and actually won the first 3 games of the season. It's okay. Nobody's planning a World Series parade downtown in Soulard or anything, but you got to admit, this series, this offense was a lot of fun to watch if you're a Cardinals fan. And the phrase that you're going to hear on repeat, as long as things continue to go well with the offense, is there's a time to slug and a time to hit. You heard him talk about it on the telecast. You've seen it in plenty of different stories from the beat writers for the Cardinals. It's the phrase that Brown used during spring training that, like, when you hear it, there's a time to slug and a time to hit. It's so simple, right? And it's one of those phrases that, you hear it and you're like, well, duh. You're not supposed to be swinging for the fences all the time, but perhaps some hitters weren't thinking that way in recent years for the Cardinals. Remember last year when the Cardinals pitchers weren't they were constantly getting burned by 2-strike hits. Remember, they get ahead of a guy, particularly a guy like Michaelis. He always had an issue, right? 2 strikes, and then he'd give up a hit. And in this particular series, the Cardinals turned the tables on the Twins. Instead of giving up 2-strike hits, they were the ones getting the 2-strike hits. They had 11 of them in the first 2 games. On Sunday, they were more aggressive. They weren't getting into deep counts very often on Sunday. They were attacking. Like, when the Twins pitchers were putting it over the plate, they were attacking. They weren't waiting around on Sunday. Part of the game plan, I'm sure. They were just more aggressive in the counts, but they were still able to work 5 walks out of the Twins pitchers, who are probably very much relieved to get out of St. Louis. The Cardinals, on top of the 30 hits that they had in the series, 10 in every game, also walked 12 times while striking out just 19 times. And a lot of at-bats in the series were long and grinding at-bats. Every day, you'll remember me talking about this last year, how impressive it was. And I caught some hell for this because I was praising the Milwaukee Brewers for the at-bats they were taking against the Cardinals in a particular series at Busch. I was just like, you watch these guys and just very professional at-bats. Like, they go up there and they look like they got a plan. They were taking Cardinals pitchers to 2-2 counts over and over and over, 3-2 counts over and over. They never were getting themselves out by trying to be too aggressive or trying to do too much at the plate. They were situational hitters who thrived on doing the right things at the plate depending on the situation. And that was something the Cardinals didn't do. They just didn't. Like, bad at-bats over and over and over last year. And in this series, the at-bats I saw from the Cardinals were very reminiscent of what I liked about when I watched the Milwaukee Brewers take at-bats against the Cardinals. I saw smart at-bats, very few empty or wasted at-bats where it was just like, what was the point of you even walking up to the plate the way you approach that? Like, it was wonderful to see as a fan. Some quotes from Brown in John Denton's article talks about this philosophy where he said, obviously, you got to slug to win in this league, but you're going to spend 50% of your time with 2 strikes. There are times when you can afford to slug, but also times when you need to lessen your intent and take the hit. That's important because the best way to score runs is by getting on base. The home run probability on average is 3 to 4%. If we're trying to take a swing for the bet every time, then it's a bad one. And I couldn't agree more. The league becoming so power dependent. Chicks dig the home runs. You know what I mean? It's so much now that the guys can strike out at will, and it's just, it's okay. It's accepted. One of the more exciting players in all of baseball is Ellie De La Cruz, right? Phenomenal athlete, can do everything, right? Dude almost set the record for strikeouts in a season last year, and nobody talked about it. It wasn't frowned upon. Nobody cared. And I hate that. I hate that it's accepted that you can just strike out and nobody cares anymore. Like, it used to be embarrassing to have to make the walk of shame back to the dugout after a pitcher punched you out. Another old saying, put the ball in play and anything can happen. That still applies today. And I'm glad that the Cardinals are buying into that. I would much rather have guys putting the bat on ball, plugging gaps with line drives, keeping the carousel going. It's the one unfortunate thing about home runs is they end rallies. They clear the bases. And sometimes you want that, right? But other times, you kind of just want to keep it going because I don't want the pitcher getting comfortable again and getting back into his windup. Having people on base is distracting for pitchers. The pitcher's mind is not fully focused on what's going on at the plate anymore. He's got other things going on. The defense has got to line up differently and play things differently depending on where the base runners are. And when you're not fielding a lineup that features a lot of 30 to 40 home run guys, you got to do things differently. And in this series against the Twins, it absolutely worked. And I loved it. Now, we aren't condemning power. I'm not condemning home runs. I still love them. It was a major reason why the Cardinals were victorious on Sunday. And two of the big flies came from guys who were making their first starts of the season. We'll discuss it next on Locked On Cardinals. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, roar of the crowd, the smell of the ballpark food, running for your life because the rain's coming. Now, that's not a fun part at all. But either way, if you're looking to go last minute to a Cardinal game, and there were plenty of seats available the last couple of days. Opening day was awesome because it was sold out, but plenty of seats available the last couple of days. Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee, they take the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices actually drop as the game time gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal on tickets to your favorite events. Doesn't have to be just baseball. It could be the Blues. 9 in a row for the Blues right now. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On, and as opening day approaches, well, it's already here, actually, you can count on Gametime to help grab tickets that will meet your needs, wherever it is that you want to sit. One of the great features from Gametime is the Gametime Picks feature, which makes finding the best deals effortless. It filters out all the fluff, gets rid of it, highlights the top discounts in the stadium. So get on the Gametime app. You're going to want to go check out this Cardinal team, man. This was a fun series to watch. You got the Angels coming in town next. Mike Trout's going to be there. Why wouldn't you want to go watch him? Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. The way the Cardinals won Sunday's game was completely different than the way that they won the first two games of the series. 5-3, 5-1 in games 1 and 2. Had 10 hits in both those games, as I mentioned. Newton Otto went yard in game 1. Obviously, those were big hits. But no dingers in game 2. But same result. You get the W, which is great. But Sunday, the boys were dialing long distance. You get 3 home runs in Sunday's game from Victor Scott II and backup catcher Pedro Pajes and second baseman Nolan Gorman. Now, Pajes and Gorman were getting their first starts of 2025, and both of them had monster days at the plate. Pajes and Gorman combined to go 6 for 8 with 4 RBIs and 5 runs scored. They each hit home runs. We all know that Pedro is known for his defensive capabilities, right? More defense than offense coming from Pedro. Just like we know that when it comes to Ivan Herrera. Ivan Herrera, well known for the offense. Defense, more throwing is his issue, but he's better known for his offense. If you gave him a grade, his offense is going to be better than his defense. And I've said it before, if you could melt the two together and make an Ivan Pajes or a Pedro Herrera, you'd have an incredible catcher. If Herrera can get the ability to throw the ball under control, if he can figure that out, It's going to take him to a whole nother level when it comes to an all-around game as a catcher. Still a young man. There's plenty of time to work on it. And the same goes for Paez, with his offense. And on Sunday, Pedro was striking the ball quite well. 3 for 4, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored, falling a triple shy of the cycle. Down 1-0 in that second inning. Nolan Gorman leads off with a base hit to right. Then it's Paez. Hits a hanging slider for a ground rule double. 107.5 off the bat. That's not a radio station. That is the miles per hour that ball came off the bat of Pedro Paez, which made it second and third. Brings in Victor Scott II, who I think surprised a lot of people by hitting 4 home runs this spring. I was surprised. I did not expect that. But you knew he's got pop just by watching him this spring. If you're able to catch any of those games, you were like, dude, does not have an issue with launch angles. Like, he can put it over the wall when he needs to. And he wasted little time in his at-bat. He ambushes a 4-seam fastball, just a cookie, right down the middle. And what do professional hitters do with pitches like that? They hit the snot out of it. Mashes it. 3-run shot into the Cardinals bullpen in right field. They grab a 3-1 lead. They would never trail the rest of this game. Third inning, the Cardinals get another leadoff single, this time by Brendan Donovan. You get a double by Nato. You get a double by Burley. That makes it 5-1. The Cardinals are off and running. And here we get back to the lower part of the order where Gorman's going to keep the carousel going, right? Another base hit to right field, which you love to see. Brings in Paez, who rips another hanging slider into the Twins bullpen this time in left field to make it 8-1 Cardinals, 102.2 off the bat. And that was genuinely the nail in Minnesota's coffin in this game. It wasn't a game after this. We did have a rain delay, which was kind of a bummer because that ended Palante's game a little prematurely. Like, would he have come out for the 6th? I don't know. But you had a rain delay of about an hour. And then Paez got his third at bat in the 5th inning, and he rips a sinker, which was, on the inner half for a base hit to center. Smokes it 105 off the bat to center field. So exit velocity average for the 3 hits for Pedro on Sunday, 104.9, which is absurd. That is Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto territory right there. Those are the guys that hit the ball that hard. Not usually your backup catcher, but Pedro, it was wonderful to watch. 7th inning, back to Gorman here. He gets a slider down and in, smashes it into the stands in right center for his first stinger of the year, makes it 9-2. Gave the I don't know what the symbol was when he was coming around, where he's saying that's my 3rd hit of the game. I don't know if he's doing the John Cena thing with the 3. I don't know. I don't know what it meant, but I like seeing him smile. It's something you don't see very often out of Nolan Gorman. Pretty chill guy, but it was cool to see him showing some happy emotion there. The best lineups in baseball have very few weaknesses, right? That's why they're the best lineups in baseball. For most teams, usually you get past like the number 5 hitter, right? And there's just not a whole lot to be afraid of. But on the real good teams, it feels like the lineup is relentless. Like, there's no easy spot. There's no spot where pitchers can just relax, kind of, all right, we got through the tough spot. No, like, the really good lineups are the ones that just, there's really not a spot where you can just take time off, They just keep sending up slugger after slugger after slugger. And in this series, the Cardinals were able to do a lot of damage in the bottom half of their order. That stood out to me watching this series. Herrera and Jordan Walker in game 1 go 3 for 6 with an RBI from the 6 and 7 spots. Game 2, Herrera 2 for 4 with another RBI. Walker 1 for 2 plus a walk. Victor Scott II in game 2, 2 for 4 with a run and 2 stolen bases. So combine those 3 guys, 5 for 10, 2 runs, an RBI, a walk, 2 stolen bases from the 6, 7, 8 spots in your lineup. And then on Sunday, they just go bonkers. Gorman, Paez, Scott II, 7 for 12. 6 runs scored, 7 ribbies, 3 home runs, and a stolen base. Plus, and this, it's so nice, no strikeouts. No strikeouts from those 3 guys. That's crazy production coming from the lower half of the lineup. Now, we've talked a lot about offense for good reason, because it was fun. runs, stolen bases, moving people over, sack flies, doubles, home run. That's fun. It's good stuff. But we got to show some love to the pitchers too. We got to, because Cardinals pitching staff this series, outstanding. And we're able to stymie this Twins offense in all 3 games. We're going to talk about them next on Locked On Cardinals. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with PrizePicks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With PrizePicks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. And we're talking, strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. PrizePicks, they just keep the game exciting every single time. Building your lineup is a lot of fun. Putting, your crew together. I had a lot going on with Aaron Judge this week, and oh boy, did it pan out well for me. I was a big Aaron Judge guy this week, and it was nice. It was nice seeing the Yankees pummel the Milwaukee Brewers into submission. They're all angry and upset about the torpedo bat and stuff like that, but that was where you can go with guys like Shohei. You can pick Cardinal guys if you want. You can pick anybody you want in the league. Setting up your lineup takes less than 60 seconds, and when you win the payout, it's quick, it's safe, it's secure. Take advantage of things like Taco Tuesday, where PrizePicks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. You need to download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out our Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast with our hosts Dominic and Matthew. MLB fantasy draft season in the books, so you're probably working on your team already, trying to grab people off the waiver wire. Eugenio Suarez had an absolutely crazy series against the Cubs. There's a few teams. If you had any Yankees, you probably are pretty darn happy. But these guys are going to talk you through it and get you the best lineup possible so you can win your league. So find Locked On Fantasy Baseball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So the old saying, good pitching stops good hitting, usually right. How many times have you seen where this incredible offense comes up and it just gets locked up by a great pitching performance? Happens a lot, right? And nobody is going to confuse this Cardinals pitching rotation with the 90s Braves of Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and Cardinal legend John Smoltz. But in this series, you have to give credit to what the starters and the bullpen were able to do against the Minnesota Twins. You have to. You got to say, dude, good job. Show them love. Sonny Gray, we know, not amazing on Thursday. Better than what we saw in the spring, right? But he was good enough to give his team a chance to win, and that's what you're always looking for from your starter. Bullpen had some traffic when Kyle Leahy came in, but King, Roycroft, Maton, Helsley, they were outstanding. Offense stepped up, makes it a 5-3 game, and you get a win. Eric Fetty, Saturday. Great comeback season last year, right? But there are a lot of doubters still out there. Like, he's a guy on this staff. People forget he's on the staff. They're just like, who? What? Eric Fetty kept the Twins off balance on Saturday. Moving in and out, up and down, pitching. That's what he is. He's a pitcher. He's not a thrower. He's a pitcher. He goes 6 innings. He allows 1 run, 2 hits. Strikes out only 2. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy. ESPN's not going to show Eric Fetty highlights anytime soon. But it's the type of pitcher that Eric Fetty is. He's not going to make headlines. And then you look up in the box score, you're like, all of a sudden, you're like, we're in the 6th inning, and like nobody's doing much against him. He's pumping strikes. He's getting guys out. He's not walking people. Retired the final 10 batters that he faced in that game. Didn't walk anyone. Love it. Not putting himself in a situation where he's set up to lose. It happened to Andre Palante today. A couple of walks, leadoff walk. What happens? Gets him in a little trouble. Didn't do that on Saturday. Fetty was great. Ryan Fernandez, Jojo Romero. Gametime comes in again, shuts it down, 5-1 final. And then you had Sunday with Palante. Wasn't as good as we saw him in the second half of last season. He didn't have a great spring. Hasn't looked crisp. Hasn't looked as good as we thought he was going to. But you know what he did? He did the same thing Sonny Gray did on Thursday, and that was be good enough to give our team a chance to win. Don't go out there and have the crooked number inning. Don't give up 3, 4, 5. Run here, run there. We'll work through it. 5 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits. Gave up the 1 home run, couple of walks, as I mentioned. Only 3 strikeouts. But if you can get through 5 innings, and that's, your line, on a day when you clearly do not have your good stuff, you're going to take that at the major league level. Again, it's not sexy, but it's good enough to keep your team in the ball game and give them a chance to win. The rain delay, as I mentioned, pretty much ended any chance that Palante had of coming back out for the 6th inning, but it worked out beautifully for Ollie because he was able to bring in Steven Matz, who did everything right this spring, right? Did everything right. Pitched great. No arguments. Stayed healthy. And is doing the team player thing and is like, going to the bullpen. I'll do it. I'll be your long guy. And it worked out beautifully today. He's finally healthy. Goes out on Sunday and throws the final 4 innings. Super impressive. 1 hit, strikes out 2 on 51 pitches. 4 innings and 51 pitches. Efficient. Efficient is the word there. Cardinals struck out just 19 hitters over the 3-game series, which is the 2nd lowest total in the league. Only the Royals pitchers had less. But what was going on in this series was the Cardinals defense was stepping up. Something that, as Cardinals fans, we've been used to good defense for a very, very long time in this town. And when it's not like that, we don't know what to do. We're like, whoa, where'd all our Gold Glovers go? We're supposed to have like 4 of them, right? Where are they all? Well, this series, pretty good. Pretty good. They answered the bell. You had multiple strong defensive plays from Brendan Donovan. He was beautiful at second base. Victor Scott, that nice running catch. Ciani made another nice catch. Mason Wynn was fantastic on defense. Cardinals committed 1 error in the series, and that was a throwing error by Eric Fetty. So the rest of the Cardinals defense, outstanding. And if you want to win the hearts of Cardinals fans, you want to win the hearts in this town, play good defense, right? They love it. I love it. It was beautiful. So you get 19 strikeouts from the pitching staff against the Twins. But let me tell you some other numbers. They have the 6th lowest ERA in baseball right now. A cool 2 ERA. White Sox are first right now. Who would have guessed that? White Sox first with a 1 ERA against the Angels, who just so happen to be coming to Busch Stadium next. The Cardinals staff gave up just 16 hits, third lowest in baseball. Pitchers walked just 5 hitters, third lowest in baseball. They held the Twins to a 167 batting average, third lowest. Their whip, 0.78, leads Major League Baseball. If you're a pessimist, you say, well, it's the Twins. They aren't that good on offense, and Royce Lewis was out. Don't get too excited. But you can't say you weren't a little impressed, right? A little impressed with how things looked this series for the pitching staff for the Cardinals. And it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for the whole team. 2 of the biggest names on the roster did absolutely nothing in this series. Got to point them out. Wilson Contreras, Mason Wynn, combined over 23 in the series with 10 strikeouts and just 2 walks. Both of those were by Mason Wynn. Mason Wynn struggled this spring. We know it was an ugly spring, and it's been an ugly start to the season. So him having a tough time isn't really that shocking. But Contreras, he was hitting the piss out of everything this spring, and he was 0 for 14. Even eating tape off his bat did not help his cause. So to see the team go 3-0, put up the offensive numbers that they did with neither of those 2 guys doing anything is pretty impressive. And again, yes, it is early. Yes, it's just the first series, but so what? Why are we not allowed to be happy? Can we not enjoy it? I, for one, am going to enjoy this series sweep because they don't happen very often. Lars Nootbaar setting the tone at the top of the order. He was outstanding. Got an OBP of 571 right now. Awesome. Nolan Arenado is hitting 455. 3 extra base hits in the series, including a dinger. The catching position. Herrera and Paez go 7 for 11 in the series with 5 ribbies. Teams hitting 323 with runners in scoring position. They knocked in 17 with runners in scoring position, tied with the almighty Dodgers, the God Squad, and behind only the Yankees and their torpedo bats, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks, who crushed the hearts of the Cubs on Sunday by scoring 8 runs in the 8th inning to win their game. So there's things to be happy about right now. Cardinals have the only winning record in the NL Central at the moment. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Don't be ashamed for smiling. Angels are in town next after taking 2 of 3 against the White Sox, despite scoring 5 runs total in 3 games. Baseball it's a wacky game. It's a wacky game. All right, thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok, and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube, help our channel, and love for the St. Louis Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.